Hey guys, good evening and welcome to another video. Today's topic is going to be on the resurgent trend in blockchain recently, at least in the blockchain media, and that is games developed on blockchain. Now, this is an old use case that we know has had disruption potential for a while. In fact, the most used Ethereum DApp of all time isn't Augur, it's not Golem, it's not any of the, it's not Kyber, it's not any of the DEXs. The number one DApp ever used was CryptoKitties. Now, what was CryptoKitties? It was a simple point-and-click pet breeding game on blockchain. But back in December, people were selling those assets for hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Ether. Now, if there's ever a time to sort of realize that this market was completely irrational and perhaps a good time to take some profits, that may have been a good signal, other than, BitConnect. But I digress. Something that we've noticed, I've noticed, lately is all the hype and talk around blockchain games. Kathleen Brightman of Tezos is turning her focus to video games. She's going to be developing video games on the Tezos platform moving forward. She's going to focus her energy towards that, and all the power to her. That'd be great to see. And if you guys have been following the DApp space at all during the last month, you will definitely have heard of the dice games that have been developed on EOS. EOS Bet and the other one, EOS, have been seeing crazy amounts of transaction volume flowing in. In fact, I think EOS Bet is the highest, or rather most used DApp of all time in its short lifespan, and that's just insane. And that's just one facet of the sort of games that smart contracts could sort of play a role in. We could have in-game assets like engines trying to focus on. You can have the sort of software development platform that Loom and Engine, to its credit, are both focusing on. And that's what I'm going to talk about here, is the investment opportunity that I see here. Not financial advice, moving forward. This is still a very early space. In fact, if you've played most of the games, I actually played one the other day. It was called EOS Knights. It was a very simple RPG, sort of just scroll along, acquire some assets, sell them. But what's really cool is that I could sell those assets for EOS. And if you know anything about the history of video game marketplaces, you'll know that they've been riddled with controversy. Blizzard, back in 2012, during when Diablo 3 first launched, they launched their absolutely disastrous real money auction house. And a lot of people sort of pointed that to be the reason that Diablo failed. Diablo 3 failed initially. The marketplace was an absolute disaster, and it was pretty much non-functional. Eventually they transitioned off that and went back to the traditional style of market that they had used in World of Warcraft and other games before. But it was an interesting concept, and it sort of showed the value that could be there behind real world asset backed video game assets. And I think as we move forward into the future and virtual reality develops, you're going to have interaction in interactive games that we didn't have before. You're going to have items that you can discover in these virtual realities that are going to be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And having a cryptographically secure and mutable ledger to maintain those assets is going to be so important. That goes without being said. And the two platforms that I'm going to look into right now, or rather recommend you look into, is Engine and Loom. Now, Engine is an old competitor in this space, and they got listed on Binance last year, and they have been around for a long time. In fact, I think the Engine social network is the most popular social network for gamers in the world. It's been around since 2009, and the concept is pretty simple. These developers can have crowd sales where they can raise money to acquire the Engine coin and sort of bake it into their games to back the assets that will be in it. And it's a really simple concept. If you've used Engine's wallet on their mobile phone, you'll know it's fantastic. In fact, it's one of my favorite mobile wallets. Super simple to use. You can store your Bitcoin, Litecoin, and any ERC20 token that's on the market at all. It can be even useless Ethereum token, but I'm not talking about their wallet. But definitely check it out. And then Loom Network is something that I actually caught my attention back in March. Wish I invested in it back then, as it went up from like 5 cents to 60 cents. But anyways, let's not get caught up in the price action. And one thing that Loom has been doing is they are sort of trying to build scalable sidechains for Ethereum-based games. If you know anything about CryptoKitties, as I mentioned before, you'll know that as ridiculous as it was, that one simple DApp pretty much broke the Ethereum blockchain. Now, what's the answer to this? In the future, we're going to have improved scalability with the Ethereum network. We're going to have sharding, Casper, Plasma, but those are still a while off. So in the meantime, what do? Well, Loom is trying to implement DPoS sidechains. Now, if you know anything about delegated proof of stake, you'll know that in its current form, it's very scalable. EOS right now is doing thousands of transactions a second, and good for them. They've sort of, I'm not sure how I feel about the whole block producers behind it, but I actually do like EOS a lot. But one thing that Loom's doing, and one thing that they sort of dubbed themselves, is they are trying to be this sort of EOS of Ethereum, which I kind of hate the whole X of Y thing in crypto, but you know, it is what it is. But they're going to have these side chains that are going to use a delegated proof of stake consensus mechanism, and you're going to be able to have these fast transactions for these side chains that run these games, and the security of Ethereum will still be there because it'll be verified by the main chain, which will be Ethereum. They've already had a few games developed on here. I think Crypto Zombies was one of them. Zombie Battleground, the world's first 100% blockchain-based game. I haven't played any of these, but I know a few of my friends have talked about it, or them, and I've heard they're quite fun. Again, super simple to play point-and-click games. Again, the developers who are doing this right now, it's super early, and I'm sure as time moves forward and more money comes into the space, that it will sort of incentivize stronger development, more in-depth development on these platforms. But yeah, guys, keep a close eye to this. You know, other than money, we don't really have a whole lot of uses in blockchain right now, and of course the store of value. And for all the hype of smart contracts, we haven't really seen them gain traction. I mean, Augur, which was supposed to be the decentralized prediction market of the world, and again, they just launched, so don't give them too much flack. But they have like 40 active daily users right now. And the whole even idea of using the wisdom of the crowds towards the prediction markets is still very much theoretical. But these blockchain games with the smart contracts baked into them, we already know they work. We've seen it with EOS Bet. We've seen it with CryptoKitties. We've seen it with EOS Knights. We've seen it with the games that Looms developed. You know, this is a use case that right now can be used. And the fact that the Angry Bird development team has already raised $40 million of venture funds from people, or rather funds like Binance, Neo, Block VC, that says something. The fact that these people are putting their money into this, it kind of reminds you of something that Mark Cuban used to say, even though, you know, his own video game project on blockchain didn't really quite work out, Unicorn Gold, but follow the money. Binance Labs, Neo, they're both putting around, you know, with an accumulated pool of about $40 million into this. So keep a really close eye to this, guys. In the future, this could be a huge use case. And like I said before, with virtual reality, you know, just around the corner, sort of just in the early stages, once this kind of takes off, the synergy here could be huge. Anyways, guys, yeah, keep a close eye on this use case. I have positions in both Loom Network and Engine, as I see them both as industry leaders in this emerging market. And yeah, really cool stuff, guys. If you like the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. You know, makes me feel nice about myself. You know, I'm never going to shill myself, but except for this time. And maybe like the video too. And yeah, have a nice night. Stay safe.